All right, folks, we are back after a few technical issues. I apologize for that. However, like I said, we do not let technical issues get in the way of winning, and we do not let technical issues get in the way of an excellent revolution and an excellent idea. So, back to business. So, as I was saying earlier, the Blue Origin rocket exploded at Cape Canaveral last night at around 9 p.m. EDT. Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket exploded at the launch pad at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station during what you would call a static fire test, a ground test where the engines are ignited with while the rocket is secured to the pad. So Blue Origin is actually owned by the Amazon founder, Jeff Bezos, and he's preparing for a June launch to put a batch of Amazon LEO internet satellites into orbit. The 188-foot first stage became enveloped in a growing fire, and then the upper stage tilted and fell as the first stage collapsed. Then the whole vehicle exploded as a methane fuel and liquid oxygen ignited. So all personnel have been accounted for. There are no injuries or fatalities. The FAA confirmed it is aware of the anomaly and noted the test was not within the scope of FAA licensed activities. So this is supposed to be Glenn's fourth mission and the first of 24 launches. Amazon contacted Blue Origin for it to build out its LEO satellite network, which is a Starlink competitor. And New Glenn's third mission in April had already experienced a cryogenic failure in the upper stage that led to the loss of the satellite. So Jeff Bezos actually posted on X, quote, "All personnel are accounted and safe, but it's too early to know the root cause because we're already working to find it. It's a very rough day, but we will rebuild." And the root cause is still unknown, and the investigation is ongoing. And no one got hurt, and that's the headline that matters. We'll know more about what went wrong in the coming days, and check out our article on ASC News Official on the Instagram. It's up, and it's perfect, and it's a wonderful story. It's actually not a wonderful story, but I think you get the point. So, and this is something quite interesting that we also reported on earlier this morning is the $250 bill with Donald Trump's face on it. So the Treasury Department is out here designing a bill with the president's face on it, and the wildest part is that they're gonna try. So, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirmed Thursday that the Treasury Department has prepared designs for a $250 bill that is going to feature Trump's portrait, and they're actually waiting for Congress to pass legislation authorizing it. So, some of you might know, but federal law just actually bars any living person from appearing on U.S. currency. The last time a living person appeared on U.S. currency was 1866, forever ago. And that was following a scandal where Spencer M. Clark, the first superintendent of the National Currency Bureau, put his own face on the 5-cent note, prompting Congress to ban the practice entirely. Legislation is currently before both the House and Senate to create an exception where allowing the sitting president to appear on currency, and that was introduced by Representative Joe Wilson, a Republican from South Carolina. The Washington Post reported that the Bureau of Engraving and Printing director who resisted the effort was reassigned last month. Her goodbye email read, quote, "The buck stopped here." This bill includes the words America 250 anniversary, which is tying back to the semi-quincentennial on July 4th, 2026, which we actually have a campaign for, so stay tuned on ASC United to see just exactly what we got planned for our special event on July 4th, 2026. So be there or be square. Besson framed it as honoring the president who happened to be in office during the 250th anniversary, $250 bill, right? Trump's signature is also going to appear on the paper currency. It's already been confirmed, and which itself is going to be a first for a sitting president. These are just some talking points that I took some notes on. So the 250th anniversary framing is real, but it's going to be worth to ask, why does honoring the semi-quincentennial look specifically like one living person's face? The anniversary belongs to the whole country. And this law exists for a reason. The 1866 rule wasn't arbitrary. It came directly from someone actually doing this, and Congress said never again. And that norm has held for 160 years. There's a difference between a commemorative coin and legal tender. The framing here keeps shifting between commemorative and currency depending on who's talking. And the director who pushed back got reassigned, and that's not an allegation. That's what the reporting says. It's worth sitting with. This isn't about liking or disliking Trump. The question is about what the precedent looks like going forward. Once the norm is gone, it's gone for everyone. And Besson's point isn't nothing. The president who presides over the 250th anniversary of the country does have a legitimate and symbolic connection to that milestone. And a handful of living people did appear on currency before the 19th century norm was established, so this isn't technically unprecedented in all of U.S. history, just modern practice. And some supporters would argue this is a one-time commemorative exception, not standing policy change, and that Congress, not the executive, is the one making the call. So, is this about a specific person or the principle? Would you feel the same way if this is about a different president? I don't think the sky is falling here, but I do think the ceiling got a little bit lower. And now I want to talk about U.S. and Iran. Progress may be a deal to be determined. This next part is news first. I'll tell you when I switch to how I feel. So the U.S. and Iran have reached a tentative agreement that would extend a ceasefire for 60 days, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and launch further talks on Tehran's nuclear program. But the deal is still awaiting approval from both President Trump and Iranian leadership. Vice President Vance said negotiators are going back and forth and making progress, but called Trump's endorsement still to be determined. The White House told reporters earlier in the day that a deal had been reached, but Vance's statements Thursday evening were notably more cautious, saying, quote, he can't guarantee that we're going to get there. The core sticking point, per multiple resources, what happens to Iran's nuclear enrichment capabilities and its stockpile of nearly 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium. The U.S. is pushing for Iran's freeze enrichment for 20 years. Iran has offered 5 to 10. The U.S. position on enriched uranium stockpile is, quote, no dust, no dollars. They do not want Iran to have this uranium at all. So what Trump is really looking for in this deal is Iran to say, we promise to never enrich uranium for nuclear development purposes, which Iran does not like. Trump said Wednesday at a cabinet meeting that he was not satisfied with the most recent Iranian offers, while adding either that or we'll just have to finish the job. Pakistan had been serving as a conduit for negotiations, sort of a natural mediator. A previous round of direct talks in Islamabad collapsed over the nuclear enrichment issue. Okay, so that's the news, and this is kind of where I'm landing here from my editorial perspective. The conflicting signals in one day, White House says deal, Vance says to be determined. It tells you something about how fluid this actually is. This isn't criticism, it's just a read. This isn't wrapped up. The enrichment question is genuinely the hardest part of Iran's position. It's not going to give up enrichment. They're not going to give up enrichment, and that's not irrational from their perspective. It's the only card they have left. Understanding that doesn't mean agreeing with it. Finish the job is language worth noting. That's not a throwaway line in this context. It's pretty useful to know and acknowledge the weight of that framing. A 60-day ceasefire extension isn't peace, it's just more time. That might be exactly what's needed, or it's just going to kick a difficult decision down the road. Both readings are reasonable. Sort of the other side of these, however, the administration's demand for a 20-year enrichment freeze and fully export the stockpile is arguably the strongest non-proliferation position any U.S. president has taken. Supporters would say the maximalist ask is exactly right. Diplomatic progress with Iran over the next 3 months of military conflict, that's genuinely significant, whatever happens next. Trump's unpredictability in negotiation has been framed by supporters as strategic leverage. This madman theory has historical precedent in U.S. diplomacy. So does the 60-day extension feel like progress to you or just delay? Let me know. That's for you to decide, really. So right now there's no deal. There's a maybe. And in this situation, maybe is actually kind of doing a lot of work. So some questions to keep to yourself and to think in your head and to really think on. If the 250th anniversary of a living president's face on currency, what should the rule be going forward? Does the occasion change the principle? On Iran, if you're in Iran right now, what's the rational move? Take a limited deal or keep holding out? What would you do? On the Blue Origin explosion, rocket programs fail. SpaceX has had a ton of explosions too. Does a setback like this change how you see the commercial space competition? Could be something there. And it's sort of just a open question for you to consider, considering the ASC United campaign. What stories aren't the big networks covering right now that you actually want to know about? That's a very important question for me to know, because you guys, my viewers, are the single most important people that I have, basically. Everything you guys need, I need to provide. So if you tell me what you need, and I'm always going to work very hard to ensure that you guys, my viewers, get exactly what you want. But if there's something I'm missing, never hesitate to let me know. And that's going to wrap that up for the news for today. And now we're going to get into a bit of fun. So, I don't know how many basketball fans we have in the chat here. However, the other day was Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, the number 1 Oklahoma City Thunder versus the number 2 San Antonio Spurs. Now, this is a matchup, a very excellent matchup in NBA basketball. These are two powerhouse teams. I mean, first you have Oklahoma City, who, in my personal opinion, have the backings of the officials and the referees, versus the San Antonio Spurs, who are just crazy. Victor Wembanyama is an absolute unit. He's like Thanos. And I believe actually today is Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. So that's win or go home. And whoever wins this series is going to go play the Knicks. They're going to go play the Knicks. And the Knicks making the finals, that is also crazy. It's been like 20 years or something. And I'm pretty sure they actually lost to the Spurs too the last time they went to the finals. I don't know. Either way, we're going to pull up the game highlights and we're going to react to these highlights, because this is honestly a phenomenal series. So we're just going to get straight to that. Whoa. Skip ahead a little bit. And dude, you just have to love the presentation of playoff sports, playoff basketball. It's just fantastic. I love it. Yo, we're buffering out here, dude. Dude, look at Wembanyama, dude. Chet Holmgren, he looks like he doesn't got much going on in his brain except for basketball. Those nuns that were at the last game, was that this game or the last game? There were some nuns at one of these games, and that was pretty interesting because they all blessed the Spurs. The Spurs got the blessings. SGA, he's someone, I guess. Yo, buffering again. And dude, Wembanyama is a freaking, he's so tall. Like 7, and from what I've heard and what I've read, he's still growing. Like, how crazy is that? At 7'4", you're still kind of growing. Like, these are numbers that are unheard of. And let's try and see if we can't speed up some of this. Let's give it a bit more breathing room, yeah? Word. All right. And dude, the energy at these games is just phenomenal too. I mean, like all the fans that show up. I remember, here in Utah we have the Jazz, right? And the Jazz are just, they used to be so good. I mean, they made the playoffs about 18 years, almost like, yeah, 18 years straight. And that And that was honestly just bonkers. Of course, they never went anywhere. Lots of second round pushes. Western Conference once or twice, Western Conference Finals once or twice. But it was like 2018, 2019. They had this stadium, and the stadium was like a gradient. So it would like start with orange, and when you get towards the top of the arena, it got to yellow. And they also had these jerseys were like amazing, and they also were gradient. The orange going up to yellow, and dude, those were some of my favorite jerseys I've ever actually seen the Jazz wear, and it was just incredible. And I actually wish I would have went to one of those games. I go to a lot of these Jazz games, and they're just a lot of fun. The energy there is always fantastic. So I think what we got here is I'm gonna pull up some of these stats. Now I don't know how many of you guys are big into analytics for anything, but I love it. I analyze just about everything from whether it's companies or a sports team. I just love it. It's fantastic. So, if we can find just where the score is on ESPN, because what I've been seeing is that SGA his name is a mouthful right now, but SGA has been not really showing up. I mean, he's obviously going to show up, right? More so than a lot of some of these other players. Oh, that's today. We won the last game. That was on Thursday. Game 6 was actually on Thursday. And yeah, and I mean, say what you will about I don't even know what you'd say, but it's just interesting to see. So we have a box score. Boom. All right. So, just what catches my eye immediately, we have San Antonio outperforming. I mean, obviously they outperformed, right? We have them. It was ad. Outperforming them all 4 quarters, obviously, because except for actually the second quarter, Oklahoma actually scored like 6 more points. And obviously San Antonio was the one to end up taking the game away. 118 and 91, and some of these scores in the NBA lately have been honestly insane. Like, like I would watch some Jazz games, and the Jazz right now they're phenomenally horrible. Well, at least they were. I expect them to do very well next season, however. But yeah, they were just not very good this year. And some games would hit scores like 150, and that's like almost crazy to see, because like a few years ago, like this number right here, 118, that would be considered crazy. And like if you go back to like my dad's time, like in the 90s, 91 was kind of that was a crazy score back then, like when the Jazz were really good. And then like 97, 98, prime time, John Stockton, Karl Malone. But regardless, let's look at the Oklahoma City box score here. We have Isaiah Hartenstein, 10 points, 16 minutes, 24 minutes, 10, 28, 15. See, look at this. 15 points for 28 minutes. And SGA is really their star player. So this is really interesting to see. 6 for 18 from the field. 6 made shots from the field out of 18 attempts. Very interesting. He went 0 for 5 for 3. 0 made 3-pointers, 5 attempts. And of course, he's going to get some free throws. He's SGA. He's the free throw merchant. We're looking at about 3 for 3 shots there. He's got a rebound. Oh man, Isaiah Hartenstein did get kind of close here to. Actually, he was not even close. Chet Holmgren got 11 rebounds. That's pretty interesting. Jared McCain, dude, I love Jared McCain. It just sucks that he's on the Thunder now, because I liked him in Philly. I like Philadelphia. I think it's a fantastic city. Yet here we are, Jared McCain's in Oklahoma, a team I'm not so fond of. But regardless, he's still a fantastic player and he's still a really cool dude. Two for three from three, four for 11 in the field, 2 rebounds. It's all right. 27 minutes. Yeah, it seems Jared McCain, Chet Holmgren. Yeah, so this seems to be, yeah, these are their starters. Obviously, they're gonna get a lot of minutes. Yeah, the bench, nothing to see here, and we're probably gonna see some really interesting numbers here from the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, so we got Julian here, 25 minutes for 10 points, as we see, ever so beautifully labeled right here. 4 from 8 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. Very interesting. 6 rebounds, and of course we're gonna have Victor Wembanyama, an absolute force in the current league right now. It's absolutely insane. And check this out. 28 minutes, 28 points. That means he's scoring a point a minute. That is crazy. 10 for 21 from the field. It's good. I mean, it's not. I mean, he missed a little bit more than half. But either way, that means he's taking shots. And taking shots is what's important. If you don't try, you don't, like, if you don't try to make a shot, you're never going to get a point. 4 for 9 from 3. And dude, I don't know how he does it. Wembanyama, he shoots threes like a guard. He shoots threes like a guard, and it's insane because he'll dunk on you, and if he can't dunk on you, he'll just shoot a 3. Like it's bonkers. A bit of a double. Oh, so we got a double here for Victor Wembanyama, 28 points and 10 rebounds, only 2 assists, 3 turnovers. Wow, how many turnovers did the? Okay, so I mean, this is pretty standard for, I guess. De'Aaron Fox, 5 points for 26 minutes. Very interesting. Dylan Harper. I don't know if you saw the clip where Victor Wembanyama fouled that one guy. He like turned around and like elbowed him in the throat. And dude, the look on Dylan Harper's face was just like a total and complete shock. Like he just never seen such violence before. And that was a really good bash too from Wembanyama. It was like prime Draymond Green, dude. Just like a straight punch to the throat essentially with his elbow. But yeah, I like Dylan Harper. I wish we could have had I wish the Jazz would have had a shot at him, but you know, that's not how things work out sometimes. Stephen Castle. Yeah, Stephen Castle during the draft last year, he was one of the guys that the Jazz were really looking at to pick. I don't know if you guys can tell, I really like the Utah Jazz. I mean, if you look behind me, we got a signed Ronnie Brewer jersey. I don't know how many of you people know who Ronnie Brewer is, but that's a signed Ronnie Brewer jersey. And obviously, we got the flag right here with the Utah Jazz. I love it. I love the Utah Jazz. And of course, we can get the Utah Utes a shout out and the Utah Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth made the playoffs their second year. Now, I love the Utah Mammoth. They are just winners. They just win and they win. And yeah, maybe they lost in the first round, but hey, we're a new team. What are you going to do? But yeah, I mean, yeah, this was a really interesting game. I actually don't think I watched this game. This game was yesterday. Today is Friday. Dude, that's just what time does for you. Okay, so game 6 is actually tomorrow. Ooh, I have work tomorrow. I can't watch the game. This is so devastating. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's as far as I got for the for content for today, as for the show goes. I think what we can do is I'll just take a peek at the news later, and we'll get some new reports out for ASE News on it, you know, on our official Instagram and on our website. And yeah, I mean, thank you for everyone for joining us for this quick and fast inaugural stream of my new show, For Real Iraheta. That's my last name, by the way. I'm Elijah Iraheta, editor-in-chief of ASE News and its founder. And yeah, guys, I mean, this is all very exciting stuff. I think the American streaming channel has huge potential to be a very big winner and a very powerful force in this new and upcoming era of American media. I want to build something very big. I'm going to build something faster, something lighter, something meaner, even wilder. But we can't do it without you guys. So every viewer that's in here is going to be directly responsible for helping fix the American media. And that means you guys are winners, because that's what we're doing. We are in a battle, a very intense battle against big corporate media that's trying to shove lies down your throat. They're trying to shove everything evil down your throat, and they want you to think the way they want you to think, because they don't have your interests in mind. They only have theirs. But I want to fight back against that with my news organization, ASC News. That's the whole point. I'm looking out for you, for you guys. I don't want to tell you guys what to think, because quite frankly, when Americans think for themselves, crazy things happen. And when Americans don't think for themselves, bad things happen. I mean, think about how we got here, right? We all got together in the 1700s and in the 1770s, and we said, this sucks. And like, off of their own minds, off of their own thinking, they decided we need to have a revolution against, the king. And that is honestly very powerful. And what we have here is no different. We have a country and two parties that are trying to pull you like this. They're pulling our flag like this. One, like, patriotism has become a very, very dangerous attribute. Some people associate it with one side, some people find it a little bit scary, but we need to fix that. And I believe I can fix this. And in this battle, if you come in and you watch these streams and you support ASC News, you are directly contributing to this battle to take back the media from these big corporations who don't have your interests in mind. And if we win, we all win. And I'm sure we all want to be winners. And I know every one of you who joins these streams and supports the channel, you are all winners. So thank you for everyone who wants to be a winner. So like I said, I'm Elijah Iraheta. This is ASC News. This is Real Iraheta. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the movement. I know that together we can win. And with my news channel, you can think for yourself and make decisions for yourself, because we are all strong and we are all independent people. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on Sunday at 12. Actually, not at 12. At 4. Yeah. Sunday at 4, you'll catch me back here on Real Iraheta, and we'll be doing the exact same sort of thing. We will cover less heavily on the news, and I'll have a bit more sort of more casual content for us to discuss. But be there or be square. Thank you all for watching.